Good afternoon, everyone. JLR Investigates. Come on in, come on in. Web of Lies. JP Miller. Let's talk. Mica Miller case. Wild case here. Wild case. And JP speaks again. He gives another media interview. Seems like it's more and more Web of Lies. Shout out to Magnolia making this wonderful thumbnail here. Web of Lies. Spider-Man, Spider-Man, JP thinks he's Spider-Man, 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 JP thinks he's Spider-Man, oh, JP thinks he's Spider-Man. Yes, Web of Lies, folks. It's just nonstop, and they're trying to put up fencing around the Solid Rock Church. Mica Miller's family is calling JP a liar, saying they have evidence that he lied. There's a couple new 911 calls being circulated. We're going to play. Come on in. Continuous coverage of the Mica Miller case. We still don't know what officially happened this day. What we do know, there is open investigations. I just looked at the court docket site. The protester sprayer, the Robert Locel, the sprinkler guy, he's demanding a jury trial, so that will be interesting. Nothing new on the Horry County Family Court docket in reference to the case going on between J.P. Miller and the estate of Micah Francis. But he speaks again, and we're going to play the interview, the new interview. We're going to get Magnolia up in the house because Magnolia always provides awesome insight when it comes to this case. This guy is in a web of controversy. He keeps shooting out webs, and he keeps getting caught in a web of lies. That's what it seems like. It's just, we call him, instead of the Spider-Man, we should call him the Web of Lying Man, right? The Lying Man. I don't know. But Spider-Man, we got Spider-Man on here because he likes to play Spider-Man. He was actually asked about that by Rich from News Nation, and he kind of played dumb. He kind of played like he didn't know what they were talking about Spider-Man. Like, I'm not Spider-Man. You know, like Spider-Man has some mysterious powers and whatnot. It's ridiculous, man. This guy needs to grow up. This guy needs to take acceptance of responsibility for his actions. He needs to come clean. He needs to set the record straight. And he needs to admit what he's done wrong. And what he's done wrong is the months and months leading up to what happened to Micah, that tragic day in late April. He needs to own up to this and stop lying and stop shooting out webs of lies. It's continuous, folks. So let's listen to the interview, because there is a interview that he just gave to WPDE. Is it WPDE? He talks a little bit. We're going to review it. And then we're going to also, the family of Micah speaks back to Ashley Banfield about the interview he gave the other day on Ashley Banfield. We talked about it on JLR Investigate. So a lot to talk about. Let's go. Let's go with the interview first, and we will listen to J.P. Miller speak. And then they also bring on a behavioral guy, by the way. So Ashley Banfield. So we'll listen to that too. Here we go.
The community and family outcry didn't stop with the official ruling of suicide. So our Mike Owen asked JP to address their concerns directly.
Did you ever physically abuse Micah?
Never once in any way, shape, or form. Not in any type of abuse, not physical, not in no type of abuse ever. I took better care of her than any man could have possibly taken care of her in every way. She never had to cook a single meal. She never had to clean, not one time. She never had to work. All she had to do was take her medicine and enjoy her life. And I did everything I could to protect her from the abusive people who were trying to stop her from taking her medicine.
Can you tell us about some of the mental health episodes she's had in the past?
Sometimes it's high, like she wants to give away every drop of money we have or buy people things, and sometimes it's low and she wants to stay in bed, or she talks about how she needs to, she wants to end her life.
Is it accurate to say that you've had a history of disagreements with Micah's family over her need for medication?
That is the most accurate statement you could ever make.
Why did you think she needed medicine?
If a doctor, especially 7 doctors, especially nurses and counselors, all say this woman needs medicine or she's going to commit suicide, you tend to believe them, especially when she comes off her medicine, she tries to commit suicide.
Later in the interview, I asked him if he had a tracker on Micah's car, something referenced in a March 11th police report, and if he was having her followed. He told me he hired a private eye.
And I hired the private eye to tell me if she would go near a gun store. That was the purpose. I said, can y'all track her and just tell me if she goes near a gun store? And they said, well, we can't track her for that reason. We can tell if she goes near a gun store, but we have to have something that's like, you know, a divorce going on or something. I said, well, I guess we're getting a divorce. No, I filed for divorce before that.
At a news conference on June 5th, the attorney for Mica Miller's family, Regina Ward, introduced Mica's law. Ward compiled what she called Mica's list, saying the examples were taken from Mica's verbal story, journals and writings she left behind. The list details examples of, quote, abusive coercive control. Ward acknowledged that JP had not been charged with any crime relating to Mica's death. Mica's family is trying to get a law named after her. It's called the Coercive Control Bill. They want to call it Mica's Law. They claim that she had a journal that shows she was a victim of abusive coercive control. The definition includes things like isolation from family and friends, depriving of basic needs, threats to reveal private information, monitoring communications, and financial abuse. Those are some big allegations. Have you ever done any of these things to Mica?
Never.
Why do you think the family is trying to get this law passed and has this journal?
They want money and fame. They'll do anything for money.
Then I asked him about specific examples of coercive control listed by Attorney Ward. But you've never tried to isolate her from her family?
Did I try to isolate her? No. I have text messages where I'm telling her you should give them another chance. She's the one that takes them. Mica did not, she loved her family. She did not trust them as far as you can spit.
Have you ever threatened to reveal private information of Mica's?
No. Wait, hold on. I think there was I think it was March 11th or 12th when we were at Honda. I was getting her mail to her, and she yelled something mean at me, and I threatened to show pictures of her.
A group of people have repeatedly stood outside Miller's Solid Rock Church since her death, holding signs that say, "Justice for Mica."
I want her to be remembered as a woman who loved her church more than anything. The very church that these idiot protesters, they're not even protesters really, they're just un-American people who were trying to scare Christians, but they're coming against the thing that Mica loved. She loved her church more than anything, remember by that, and that's a good thing to be remembered by the way. She loved her husband more than anything in the world.
Some people think that you're to blame for her death. What would you say to them?
They're the biggest idiots on planet Earth. I am the only one not to blame. I'm the only one who tried to help her keep her alive. The 48 people I went to and said she needs her lithium or she's going to commit suicide, don't let her get a gun. They had the information, especially her family, and did nothing. With me, she never committed suicide. With me, she's happy, healthy, whole.
And that was Mike Owen reporting. We reached out to the family of Mica Miller through their attorney, requesting a response to the interview that you just saw. Mica's younger sister, Sierra, provided us a statement saying, quote, "Our main goal isn't to argue and make a scene. The goal is to remind everyone that Mica was a real person. This is a nationwide news story, but it's not just a story, it's her real life. She was a real person, and this is not just some crime story. We're fighting a real-life situation. We're trying to get closure on what happened to our sister," end quote.
Okay, so
So we come.
48 people. I talked to 48 people. It kind of reminds me and warned them about Mica and her mental health. Just like the 350 pieces of evidence, right, that he was supposed to share that he has yet to share. Lie after lie, webs of lies, 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 lies. I'm the greatest husband ever. She didn't have to do nothing in the house. She didn't have to cook, clean, do dishes, nothing. All she had to do was just take her medicine. I was the best husband in the world. It's everyone's fault but mine. That's what I've heard. I mean, there's so much to review out of that interview. I wish it would play in full instead of clips. But you get an understanding how his mindset can never accept any responsibility. He thinks it's everyone else's fault. He's blaming Mica's family for the loss of her life. He's literally saying, he literally said, ladies and gentlemen, if she was with him, she would be alive today. Are you kidding me? That's what he said. That's what he said. Web of lies. It just keeps pounding. You know, I don't know why he's doing this and who believes him or what his purpose is. We're saying, though, is lately he's been coming out doing the media interviews, and we think there is a financial motive to this operation here due to the mounting legal problems that this guy is facing. But it clearly shows web of lies. There's so many lies that come out of his mouth, and we literally debunked almost everything he says and continues to say and counter. Now, the family of Mica spoke to Ashley Banfield. Long conversation, but they put out about a 5-minute clip of the family speaking to Ashley about they have evidence that he lied. And I believe that they have evidence. I believe that they have evidence that he lied. Web of lies. Let's play that. Let's review this. This is just unbelievable. Oh, by the way, look what this guy has the audacity to do at Solid Rock Church. The dude is literally trying to set up fencing. This was shared online by Robbie Harvey, and we confirmed it through a local, but it got stopped. He's trying to, I guess he thinks he's above the law and can just put up fences like this around a whole, I guess his intent here was to put it around the entire church, but it was just by the parking lot. Like he didn't want people to see the parking lot. We'll talk about that in a second, but let's listen to the family of Mica speaking to Ashley Banfield right here.
At one point in the stormy marriage of Mica Miller and her pastor husband, John Paul Miller, he wrote her a letter apologizing for some of the nastier things that he'd done to her. For one, posting a topless photo of her on the internet, and two, vandalizing her car tires. JP wrote that he was trying to hurt Mica because she had hurt him, admitting that it was, quote, evil of him to do it. But in his exclusive interview with News Nation, he did a 180 on that. He backtracked. Not just on the apologies, but on the implied admissions of guilt as well. Here now is more of our exclusive interview with Mica's sister, Anna, and the family's attorney, Regina Ward. They both say that Pastor Miller's non-apology speaks volumes.
As far as the email and him saying that, we're all referring to it as the apology letter. He's spinning it just like he does with everything. He's been caught, okay, and now it's like, oh, how can I explain away? Because he always explains away everything. There's something else that's motivating whatever is happening. So now that that's come forward, then he's got to say, oh goodness, how do I overcome this? I've just admitted all of these things. Oh, I know what I'll do. I'll just say that I admitted them because Mica said that she wanted me to.
Our family does have evidence that the last time they had any interaction was in close proximity with each other. It was the complete opposite of what he's saying it was. They did not kiss, they did not hug, they did not talk about getting back together. If asking for that letter, why would he just lie and just say he did all these things to get her back on medication? She had been off of that medication for months.
During the course of that interview, News Nation correspondent Rich McHugh showed Mica's sister and her lawyer video. This one. This is JP and Mica arguing at a car dealership just weeks before Mica's death. And Mica's sister says these are the pastor's true colors, and that the video may actually prove useful if he's ever prosecuted.
It looked like he just got out of bed or something. I don't know. It was apparent that she was being tracked back then because he just showed up out of nowhere without her telling him where she was, and that happened multiple times. He was again trying to embarrass her, and so she has to call the police and say, I don't want him here. And he just shouts things at her to get a rise out of her, just like he would in his interview. Say things towards the family to try to get a rise out of us. And she rose above that, and so is our family. We're going to rise above the things that he's trying to put out there that are not true.
It absolutely is evidence of abuse. And when Mica brought it to me and gave it to me, I was like, thank goodness that she got that. I wish it would have been longer, but she wasn't expecting him. So when she's trying to fumble around and get it going, and man, the minute that he saw that she got that going, that's when he's turning around to walk away. And I'm so grateful that she did get that, because I feel that without that little sliver of a video, that the world would not get an inside view of John Paul. He is very crafty in spinning his web. He is always spinning the narrative.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find news.
Web of lies, folks. And you know what's interesting? And they have a point. In that last interview that we played of him, he said to WPDE, he said that they asked about the tracking to him, and he said, well, the only time I wanted to get a PI to track her is because I wanted her to prevent her from going to the gun store. I was tracking her to see if she would go to a gun store to get a gun because I didn't want her to get a gun. No, JP, you are a liar. You were tracking Mica to that auto dealership there in that infamous video where you claim you were going to throw her pictures up on the internet. You'll see them on Facebook later. Yeah, because you came to that location because you had a tracking device on her vehicle. You knew where she was. So to say PIs are only tracking her because I didn't want her to get a gun, it's ridiculous. And you just heard from Anna, her sister. Listen, and this is we corroborated this. We corroborated this, folks. Months and months and months before the death of Mica Miller, she was actually happy. She went to work on time. She was kind and generous at her employment. We spoke to her employers. We went there, me and Magnolia. Not one sign of any depression or nothing. So she's perfectly fine at her job. Her family says she's fine. She's optimistic. She feels she has a bright future. She's taking the necessary precautions to get away from him because she's optimistic and happy about her future. So for him to say that she's off the medication, which caused this, is preposterous. It is the complete opposite. Complete opposite, folks. It's ridiculous. Spinning lies, making everyone feel like he's the victim. It's her fault. It's Mica's family's fault. No, folks. We spoke with Mica's family. We spoke with friends. We correspond with a lot of people, boots on the ground. And the determination is Mica was a happy person, and JP just kept stalking her, kept harassing her, kept needling her, kept driving her down, kept trying to control her, and just pushed her over the edge. Period. There's no dispute of that. But only JP is the only one that says it a whole completely different. It's like the tale of two cities. Total opposite. And he can't corroborate it. He hasn't shown any proof of nothing. It's all talk. It reminds me of a cheap car salesman himself, trying to sell everyone the lemon. Right? A beat up car that doesn't run. Yeah, buy it. It works. That's all he is. He's a talker. He talk. And those talkings are definitely going to be used against them. Him and them. When I say them, there's them. When I say them, I believe there's others. Who are those others? I don't know. His inner circle. We've discussed this inner circle already. I see CJ's Crime Concepts in the chat. Hello, CJ. And you guys got to check out his channel because he keeps talking about he's there every weekend covering the boots on the ground as far as the protesters. He actually, JP, tried to say the protesters are anti-Christian, which is hard to believe because most of the protesters out there are Christians. A lot of the protesters out there are former members of the church that got away, but they're Christians. They're Christians. Oh, they're trying to, I don't know. But check out CJ. CJ, actually, I'm going to play one of your clips right here. This is I guess you guys obtained some 911 calls, and some calls, but something happened here on 4. This is another call from 5-1 of a caller, and I'm gonna play this. This is a clip that you and another individual made, CJ. We're gonna play this right here.
Can you dispatch? Hello?
Yes, okay.
This is Ray County Dispatch. Can I help you?
Sure, I was talking to a lady. She sent me you.
Okay.
What I'm calling for, we're in the neighborhood of Cascades. This is where that preacher guy, which everybody knows is crazy out here, and his wife apparently, which we know she didn't shoot herself. But what's happening?
Just read that.
And he's had a bunch of Filipino girls, or except I don't know if what's going on in there. But the neighbor also saw him beating one of those girls up not too long ago. He can be, tell the police about it. The mail lady just went down there and she said there's always different young Oriental girls in that house, and then they're now. I guess I don't know what he's doing. I know they're doing an investigation of their death, and she had just filed for divorce and all, and, we all know her from running and everything, and she ended up dead. But I think somebody might want to go by that house and see what's going on, because it don't look good for this neighborhood. And her mom's out here, there's older people out here in this neighborhood. Something's going on.
Redacted.
Yes, ma'am, that's the address. And the mail lady said she went by there and there's still young Filipino girls, all that sex trafficking and all going on.
Mm-hmm.
I heard he was involved in that, but I'm not saying it because there's a lot he was into.
Okay.
And the little girls and all, and that's why it's going to all come out in the long run. Girls are, there's nobody else. That's not their house. It belongs to her. And she had filed for divorce. So y'all might want to check it because there's something going on. They got like sheets all over the windows and don't look right in this neighborhood.
They have what all over the window?
And like I said,
sheets.
it look like they got sheets put over it now since all this. And we did see him fly in there and fly out of there because he almost hit us in his blue truck and he took off. That was on Saturday morning.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently he sneaks in there and leave. But those Orientals in there, and like I said, I think that was her house. But you heard about it. There's everything going on with the, wasn't that Rock Church, Solid Rock Church?
Okay.
It's the Miller, WP Miller, and like you say, she filed for divorce. 2 days later, she's dead. So there's something going on in there. It's been going on a while. Like I said, the neighbor saw one of them, the boy, because he's real crazy, beating the girl on the back. But I don't know why he didn't call the police, but he didn't know either. A lot of people don't like getting involved. I don't know if he's involved in sex trafficking, which I think he is. But y'all can find out. They got no business in that house.
Whoa. Okay. And what is your name? God bless this man.
Live down the road, believe me. Yeah, the neighbor knows. Everybody's scared of this guy now because what's going on. They should be.
Right. And what's your...
Some
These
of
are
it's
all
redacted.
Parts, everybody.
Yeah.
This is from the report we just read to you a minute ago.
Do you know about how many Oriental girls are there?
Oh my gosh.
No, I have no idea, but the post lady did it always, and she saw them in a while ago. So they came to the door and got some packages she delivered. She knows there's always something, and the other man used to be able to say there's always something shady going in there with that boy and everything. Which is, they're young.
What?
She thinks they're Filipino.
What? Don't tell me they're people from overseas that are... Oh,
yeah, JP, man, he was his wife was just found dead. It was just said that she committed suicide, but all the people got Facebook. They know he killed, you know how that goes.
Right.
He did it all the time. He really did. He's a crazy guy.
Peter,
Involved in young kids and young girls, and of course the church now is just saying that. Somebody should come up and say that a lot longer, and she'd be alive today.
Oh, shout out, right? That's why we're here. That's why we're doing
I'm sure y'all all read about it. Just I think Saturday.
Whoa.
But there's always been something weird, and everybody had to tell you something weird going on in that house. But it's a nice neighborhood.
It is. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's a place you're like, wow, I'd like to raise a family here.
Mm-hmm.
There's everything.
Yeah, I don't really want to get involved, but I'm a, you know what I mean?
Right. Do you know if there's any
Something
weapons?
to be done.
Yes, there is.
I don't know if there's any weapons in there. I know they said the girl shot herself. I don't know if that happened there. Somebody told me that the mail they thought she get in Charleston, which don't make sense, but nobody knows.
Okay.
I don't know what's in that house.
And is there anyone in danger right now?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know what's going on inside that house or not.
Right.
There's a black car out there. I know they got the windows and all. They'll see when they see the house.
Okay.
Yeah, he slipped in and he ran out of there, so I don't know if he was... I know he had a restraining order on him, and I don't even think he was supposed to be around that house, but I don't... Like I said, she ended up dead. You know how that goes.
Right.
It's weird. It's very... And everybody knows. Everybody in that church knows. Everybody knows it. And it's under investigation, so...
That's why they dropped down to 50 in that
All right,
first
I'm
week.
going to let you go, and officers going to be dispatched as soon as possible. Just call us back if you get new information or need further assistance.
All right, we appreciate it. We didn't want to get involved, but there's something that needs to be done, so there's something going on, and you know it.
Yes, sir.
Wow. Wow, folks. So apparently that was after, I don't know the actual date, but apparently this was a call that a neighbor made to authorities after the death of Mica Miller, claiming there were sheets up in his windows and Oriental people. This is unbelievable. Young people, May 1st. People are saying May 1st. Thank you for filling me in. This is sick. And this needs to be investigated to the fullest extent of the law. This is stuff, also behavior that Mica's own family were describing. Remember we heard from Mica's dad who said that JP would try to get Mica involved with, and I don't want to be graphic here, but threesomes with strangers. Well, what you just heard was a concerned neighbor that more or less corroborates what Mica's family has been saying to all of us. There's weird stuff going on inside the home of JP Miller. And even when he does these interviews, the lately interviews, they're on the bizarre meter, folks. There's something not right. A lot of people think he's fidgeting, he's on drugs, he's unstable, and I am concerned. I am concerned considering he had his rights restored recently. He had some felonies, went to the courts, got his rights restored, running around with guns, running around as Spider-Man, running around irrational, posting videos about Mica's family on a TikTok channel. They're not there anymore. Maybe his lawyer finally knocks some sense into him. It's just weird. It's just weird. This is not a pastor that you would think is a victim here. Matter of fact, it's just bizarre. And I don't think that person that made that call, and I'm assuming the call is legit because they were playing it, because people have been getting all types of police reports, 911 call. All that is open for FOIA. All of that is open. Man, it's scary. It's scary. And considering that this guy would have sheets and girls inside the house, no wonder Mica got away from him. And he kept trying his best to draw her back into the web with his web of lies. It's all lies. Well, we're not buying it on JLR Investigates. We're reviewing it, but we've already put our foot down. And no matter what this guy says, he is not to be believed. Again, he's the type of guy. It's like an activating event. And we all see something in front of us. And it could be light out, sun out. And he's the type of guy that will say, nope, it's raining, it's pouring. He'll say something total opposite of what is in front of your eyes. I think that's part of his game. I think it's part of his recruiting people. I think that's what he wants, just to be different. And go total contrary to what's really in front of your eyes. He makes excuses. He justifies. It's unbelievable. Now, there's another 911 call circulating, folks, I want to share. And we're going to get Magnolia on soon, because Magnolia has a lot to say, like always. There's this other 911 call. And it's right here. Now, this call was, Mica made the call about razor blades, but it gets more. This is the incident where JP was allegedly tracking her. But as you heard from that interview we started out, JP's like, I never tracked her, my purpose of tracking to her was so she wouldn't get a gun. He said that. I heard it. Unless I heard it wrong.
Bring dispatch. This is Wendy.
Hi, I got a razor blade put in my tire at the Springmaid Pier, and I wanted to make a police report.
Okay, tell me exactly what happened.
I was parked at the parking garage right there at the Springmaid Pier. Walked on the beach. It was around 1:30-ish, like a.m., that I got back to my car. And when I got back and I pulled away, I heard the pop in my tire, so I immediately got out and I took a picture. It's a giant razor sticking out the side of my wheel. And this same razor was put in my tire the day that I had to appear at probate court on March 5th in the parking lot of the county clerk. They saw the videos. They said nobody came near my car, but I have pictures of both razors, and they're identical.
So when they watched the
someone's
videos,
obviously following me.
when they watched the videos, they never saw anyone going near your car?
Correct, which means that someone was trying to get me to not be able to go to court, and they wanted me to have a flat tire. It was a psych evaluation from my ex-husband. It was a mandated psych evaluation, which I got dismissed after that day. They cleared me, dismissed, and dropped the case. But there was still a razor in my tire that day at court. And then just now, less than a week later, there's another razor in my tire, and he's accusing me of having an affair and all this crazy stuff.
So your tire popped after this happened?
No, my dad's on the way now to crank it up, put a donut, and then hopefully the razor's sticking out the side, so hopefully we'll be able to pull it and plug it, so hopefully, but the other tire did have to be replaced 100%. The one that he put, this person, whoever it is, that put it in at probate court, that had to completely be replaced. This one's on the side, and it's not all the way in. It's sticking out really far, so you can see the whole razor, and hopefully I'll be able to, East Coast Honda will be able to pull the razor out. Is there, a way to check for fingerprints on that thing or something?
Okay, all right. I'm going to put this information in, and we'll have officers out to you as soon as possible, okay? And they may want to call you to get some more information. If they do, it'll be from an unknown blocked or private number. Just make sure you answer, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, good luck.
They're posting a 911 call. I love how these people are getting all these calls. I believe that he or someone affiliated with him put the razors in her vehicle. It's not like someone else would target Mica Miller, right? All the stuff Mica was going through in reference to JP trying to institutionalize her, bugging her, harassing her, she trying to get away. Can't see how just a random stranger, it's like lightning strikes twice. I can't see how a random stranger would just put two incidents, razors into her vehicle. No. He got his fingerprints all over it. Wish they did take fingerprints. Maybe they should next time. So people can kind of get some justice, because it's really hard to prove someone put razors unless they're actually seen. Otherwise, that's probably why he was never charged, because maybe they should have pulled cameras in the area. But sometimes they don't do that because it's just a simple charge, right? Putting razors in the tire is not like a felony in a sense, right? Misdemeanor. So police don't want to waste their resources plucking cameras and doing a thorough investigation. But I bet you if they did, it'd be someone affiliated with him. For sure. And I don't think she's lying. I don't think she's paranoid. I don't think she's delusional. I don't think she put razors in her own vehicle. No, this is legit. Because she was united around her own family. Her family knew what was up. Let's get Magnolia in the chat. Magnolia always has a lot to say. This is wild, folks. Web of lies. Web of lies.
Folks. Web of lies.
Thanks for coming on, Magnolia.
Hey.
So what's your take about this new interview from J.P. Miller?
The interview. Yeah, to me on that interview, he seemed like he was more down this time than up, if people catch my drift, compared to the one on News Nation where he was just like kind of out of control, these outbursts, crying. He was a mess on the News Nation one. And then the one that we saw today from the local media, he looks, I don't know, like subdued, I guess is a good word. He just seemed down. His head was down. He just looked droopy.
But why even give the interview? Is that just an act?
Yeah, I don't know why he keeps doing this, because he keeps saying the same things over and over and over and over. I mean, he's really not saying anything new each time. It's
Well,
like
he did say something new this time.
everything's their fault.
He said 48 people he warned, or 40-something. I think it was 45 or 48, something around that ballpark. Like he tried to, like similar to the 350 pieces of information or pieces of documents that I'm going to share to the world. I've warned 40-something different people and no one listened.
Yeah, the doctors, the judges, the police, everybody in town. Yeah, also in the interview, though, he also expressed anger towards the protesters.
Yes.
Too.
What's your thoughts on that?
So that was new. I think it's hilarious, the fence. Like he's trying to put this fence up outside the church to guard against the evil protesters. But the police department was like, yeah, you can't do that. It's just another example of him just doing whatever he wants to do. He thinks like laws don't apply to him. Like he's just going to go build a fence. Everybody knows if you build a fence, you have to get a permit, right? Everybody knows that. He just starts building a fence. Like,
yeah, he built a fence and then they put what I'm showing this now is this, it's a red piece of tape on the fence. I guess the city of Myrtle Beach stopped him right in his tracks and said it says stop work order.
Yeah, if you look at the picture closer up, let me find it. If you look at that picture closer up, you can actually read what it says on the red notice. It says, basically, it says pending issuance of permit for all work being done. So they have to stop because they didn't have a permit. Specifically is the reason.
Dude,
now,
you can't just put fences up like that anywhere, especially in front of that's a busy street. You can't just put white fencing around the whole thing. My thoughts is he was going to put it around the whole place, not just the parking lot there.
Yeah, it looks like he was trying to do that. But yeah, I mean, there's going to be in Market Commons, there's going to be all kinds of regulations regarding putting up fencing or really anything. It's, it's also, they've got to check the property lines, make sure that they're not putting the fence outside property. I mean, everybody knows this. This is like so basic. So it's just another, like I said, it's another example of him just doing whatever he wants to do and thinking that laws and rules and all this other stuff that just don't apply to him.
I'm wondering why they haven't. He could be getting fined right now for having this up. If he already had this up, he might have been told already to take this part down.
Oh, I think 100% they're getting fined for that. It's probably already happened. They probably already got a fine. But yeah, it's just crazy. It's crazy town. Somebody was asking. I was about to answer someone in the chat a minute ago because they were asking a question about the alleged trafficking that this neighbor was talking about that was going on in and out of the house. First of all, that neighbor, I think I actually know him, the guy on that 911 call, because I've heard that everything he said on that 911 call, I've heard all of it. And I'm pretty sure it was him that told me. So, that was interesting. But somebody was asking if the alleged trafficking, if Mica was still alive, if she would be, found complicit in some way in that in the
great
supposed
point.
trafficking. But just to touch on the trafficking thing, the stuff that the neighbor said barely scratches the surface on that topic. This is a topic that we've heard a lot about regarding John Paul Miller and the FBI investigation. And what he said to the 911 operator, the dispatch, whatever it was, it barely scratches the surface. Just to let y'all know, the FBI investigation, that's part of what they're looking at, but it's way beyond the house itself. It's way beyond all that. It's the scope of this investigation you cannot even comprehend. So the neighbor's saying that he saw Asian girls coming in and out of the house all the time. He also said that he saw JP beating Mica in the front yard too. So these neighbors, we have several of our sources are neighbors, and they see everything that happens there. And a lot of this behavior from him is really not a secret in the neighborhood. Everybody knows and has seen these things happening. So, and creator to class said many locals have claimed trafficking. Yeah. So, and that's just a topic that we don't really dig too much into on our reporting, because like I said, for one thing, the scope of it is so massive, and there's so many people, various victims, co-conspirators. I mean, it's massive, and these are really big allegations to make without proof. And so, we obviously are not going to report something unless we're able to back it up and verify it. So that's a big reason that we don't really touch on that too much on our channel. But I can say that it's something that's being looked into for sure.
Yeah, it's, and I mean, we've heard this weird stuff is existing inside that home. We've been hearing it from multiple people. What exactly is going on in that home? His justification, it could be people attending his Bible studies, from overseas or something. You know what I mean? Like, he could have a logical explanation for that. Is that legit? I don't know. But, I'm sure he won't deny that people are coming out. Now, if we get some photographs or some videos of people coming in and out, then it would probably be more insightful. We'd probably get some more insight about the situation. But again, it could be, because, we're talking about Reginald Wayne Miller, his dad, with the Bible college and bringing people overseas to, practice religion. He could be doing the same thing through the First Academy, right?
Yes. So many people believe that Wayne Miller's practice of bringing these foreign exchange students over, allegedly using them for various things. A lot of people don't think that ever stopped. And it seems that JP Miller may have just continued on with the same thing. So I think that's what most people who are close to the situation believe. So, there's going to have to be, I'll tell y'all something else. So last week, I don't remember, it's been a crazy couple weeks. Last week or the week before, there was an article that came out, I think from Fitz News, that said there are victims preparing to file lawsuits against John Paul Miller. I think we reported on that. So those victims are related to this topic of trafficking.
Yeah, and again, like, he needs money. My take about him is everything in his motives in life is not the word of God. It's about filling his pockets and making money. I always believed that he would use people and use through financial counseling, through tithing, through his teachings, through the foreign exchange students this dad was doing, and he's kind of doing the same thing. I don't know to the extent of that, but everything's in the interest of money and lining his pockets. Now we know, properties have been basically seized in a sense or put on hold. Regina Ward put properties of his, what's the word again? Let's use the terminology.
Liz Pendens.
Liz Pendens. We know that he's facing mounting legal problems. So it wouldn't shock me. He would escalate his only way to make money to be able to subsidize the legal problems that he has, both probably criminally, definitely civilly. And that would be by using people and bringing them there under Bible teachings for money. That's his way to make money. It's the only thing he knows how to do.
Yeah, and cheap labor.
Cheap labor.
I mean, they underpay people. I mean, that we talked about Trisha Ross before. He underpaid her. They don't believe in paying people what they're worth. I'm sure he barely paid Mica anything for her work. I also, you know what? I also want to point something out that really irritates me, because he's done it twice now. In the News Nation interview and again on this local media interview, he made this remark: Mica never had to work. She never had to do anything. He's basically dismissing all the hard work that she did at the church when he says that. And it really irritates me, because she did work. She worked the entire time they were together. He made her stop her job. He made her leave her job at Honda in 2017 before they got married and work at the church. So for him to sit there and say, oh, she never had to work, she never had to do anything, really irritates me to no end, because she worked very hard. She designed all the graphics at that church. She was, in the music program at the church. She sang all the time. By the way, singing itself is work.
I was about
people don't know.
I mean, she was the show of their performance. It wasn't JP on the piano that people really came to see. I mean, they came for God, right? But when they enjoyed that church, the way we're hearing it, is they thought that Mica was the lead of the band.
Yeah, and that's just one thing that she did. She sang at the church. But singing is a lot of work. I grew up singing in the church. I grew up, when I got older, I was on the music team at church. I was in every play, every musical. Growing up, my whole life. But guess what? I didn't just show up on Sunday morning and sing a song. I practiced. I put a lot of work and effort into learning the songs, memorizing the words, practicing over and over and over and over and again. Putting on the performance itself is a very small part of it. That's a lot of work that goes into doing that. And that was only one thing she did. She did, like I said, the graphics. She designed things. Those t-shirts for Dare to Care. She came up with the whole entire thing of Dare to Care. I mean, for crying out loud, she's one of the hardest working people I've ever heard of. And he sits here every day saying she never had to work. Like, it's so degrading. It drives me insane.
Well, not only that, but once she got away from him, she works over at J. Peters.
Yeah.
Like, she's working, and she never missed days of work. She worked overtime.
She was a great employee. Yep.
I mean, we've heard it from multiple people. We were there. We went in there.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like she was slacking at her job or causing problems at her job. She was there. She would work longer than her shifts. She would work as long as she was able to work while there.
Right, and he describes her as if she was a kept woman, which is just so insulting.
Or like a freeloader.
Yeah, it's horrible. I mean, it's just crazy to me that he would say stuff like that. He's acting like she was like a princess on a pedestal, and she just never had to do anything, and all she ever had to do was bat her eyelashes and paint her nails and call it a day. Like, to describe her that way is just so degrading to me. I can't even, it's hard to even come up with the words.
Yeah. Well, going back to these web of lies, right? So, what do you think he's trying to do here? Is this like, what is the point at this point in this juncture? Why suddenly come out and speak to two media people within the last few days after, the mounting legal problems with him? Do you think it's anything's coincidence here? And you think he's going to speak more?
No, I think that he's just really trying to drive his narrative home. He's trying to make sure that everybody knows that his side of the story, because he knows he's being investigated for the circumstances and events and his actions leading up to her death. Because we talked about this before. If someone can be charged if it's found that their actions directly led to someone taking their life, there's precedent there, and he knows he's being investigated for that. He knows there's all this evidence out there. He knows there's the 911 calls, the police reports, the razor blades and the tire, the video of him in the parking lot. So his defense, he decided, I guess, at some point was going to be, oh, well, Mica was crazy and she would constantly come up with these crazy accusations in her mind. And so sometimes I just had to tell her what she wanted to hear. And that's why I wrote that letter. So he's trying to just really hammer that home and say, this is my story and here's the proof or whatever, and he said that he said he's the only one not to blame for her death. That's what he said in that news interview. He said he's the only one who's not to blame. Everybody else is to blame but him.
Yeah, speaking of that, let's talk a little bit about Sprinkler Guy, because I do think the media interviews have a lot to do with this guy right here, right? This is the guy that got arrested. I just looked on the court docket for this guy, right? So he's charged with 5 counts of assault. He assaulted, sprayed water on protesters at the church, so on his property. So he is, JP is liable. But I'm just going to spin the camera around, just show everybody. When you look on the court docket here, this is his name, Robert Locel, right? Robert Locel. He has cases. But look at the 5 cases. He's demanding jury trial. So he got 5 cases here. And on the 8th, so just a couple weeks ago, he's demanding jury trial. Now, that can always change, right? That can always change. But my point is, Russell B. Long is the one that's defending him, and that's JP's lawyer. So I'm assuming JP has to pay this guy's legal bills. And to go to a jury trial on 5 counts of assault, it has to be $20,000, $30,000 at least.
Yeah, it's it's not surprising. It's really their MO. It's like, why can't you just say, "Oh, I'm so sorry, I shouldn't have done that."
I take some anger management and call it a day.
Yeah, like that's what normal people would do. Not these people. Oh no.
Yeah, but
they're going to take it all the way to the nth degree. They're going to waste everyone's time, money, energy. They're going to take up space on the court calendar. All these just imagine being summoned for jury duty and you walk in and it's Sprinkler Boy.
Yeah.
I mean, do you know how mad I would be? Do you know these people have to take off work. They got to go to jury duty. They got to do all these things. And he's putting everybody through all this when he's on video spraying them in the face with water. Like, come on. Like, it just shows you how narcissistic these people are. It's a culture. It's like a culture of narcissism at that church.
I mean, if they think they're going to win at trial or say it's somehow the protesters' fault, so that's probably why he called the protesters evil and anti-God, because he's ticked off that his boy got arrested. Sprinkler Boy got arrested, and probably Sprinkler Boy did the sprinkling. He told the police because I guess the protesters were irritating his wife. Is that the reason why he said it? But clearly this guy, was like, go spray him. I think so. I think that, it was under the direction of the Messiah, I'm going to do this for JP because these people are messing with us at our church or whatever. But JP's definitely liable for this. And, there's rumor talk. I'm not saying I don't know if it's true or what not, but there is rumor talk that some of these people might take civil legal action against JP for this, because people are claiming that, it hurt their eyes or whatever. I don't know the extent of injuries. I don't know if any of them went to the hospital or whatnot. Normally, you would think it's no big deal, but it is a big deal. You can't just spray somebody in the face with water like that as for fun.
Right. And, well, but don't forget, people need to remember who turned the sprinklers on. And it wasn't Sprinkler Boy, it was JP Miller. He walked around the church, and I'm pretty sure CJ recorded it. He walked to the side of the church that we see in all the videos, turned the sprinkler on, walked all the way down to the end of the building, turned the corner, walked to the other end, turned that sprinkler on too. He made a big show of it, of turning those sprinklers on, because he thought he was being cute. So he was basically starting it, and Sprinkler Boy decided to just egg him on and pick it up where he left off. So they did it together. It wasn't just Sprinkler Boy, So, yeah, and I think some of these people, if they want to sue the church for this, more power to them. I mean, why not?
Well, that, again, my mind's thinking JP's mind right now. What is JP thinking right now? And what is his next moves? It's almost like a game of chess. How is he trying to counter everything that's coming his way? And what can he do? For him to have lawyers, which he does, for his estate case. Now, his lawyers for his estate case that he's going, the family of Mica, Sierra Francis, the administrator of the estate, with that's that issue there. I don't know if he has a lawyer that's going to handle the totality of everything, everything flying his way. But maybe for the estate, that he has lawyers for that. But I can't see how the lawyers could give him the blessing and the go-ahead to talk to Ashley Banfield or News Nation, where that media, that interview was a complete disaster, and now another one.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I was his lawyer, I would tell him to zip it.
Well,
because he's digging himself in the hole.
It's interesting because, so the cases we're talking about are domestic in nature, a lot of these, with the estate, the probate court, things like that. Do you remember if any of his attorneys are actually criminal attorneys? Have we ever checked into that?
Russell B. Long's office does criminal cases, but I can double check. I believe. I'm not gonna say that as a statement of fact.
Yeah, because it actually just occurred to me when you were talking about that maybe he does not have a criminal attorney.
Russell B. Long is a criminal attorney handling Robert Locel was a criminal case, so he does criminal law.
And he moonlights with defamation too.
Well, yeah, because they send people.
He writes poor defamation letters too.
Charlotte got one.
Yeah. So, I mean, to me, it's like Russell B. Long, like, who is this guy? We saw the letter he wrote, the defamation letter. He can't even spell the words.
Well, the very first thing he said, Miller said, JP was on with the Ashley Banfield. The very first thing came out of his mouth is he's preparing defamation letters.
Right.
It's the very first thing on his mind. Now, I think that was just a scare tactic to try to scare everyone from talking about him. But he has no defamation case successful. That he could bring one on somebody, but you got to understand that that stuff can totally backfire on him if he drags somebody in court, and they can just share all his clips and share everything that's out there on him. And he's a public figure. He has zero chance. As a matter of fact, if he loses, which he probably will, he has a better chance of losing than winning a defamation. The threshold being a public figure as high as it is, he might have to fork over money for legal fees for the people that defend themselves.
Right, but what I'm saying is, like, I don't think that he even understands what defamation is. And Russell B. Long definitely doesn't understand what defamation is, because that letter, just read that letter. they don't know what, it just seems like they don't know what they're doing. They have no idea what they're doing.
They didn't even say specifics of what was defamatory.
No. And the other thing, so, I mean, I'm just really wondering, like, does JP Miller even have, like, a good lawyer, or does he just have these people like Russell B. Long? And what he really needs is a good criminal attorney. That's what he really needs. And if he had one, I think that attorney would tell him, do not go on the news, do not go on TikTok, do not say anything, because, you know, everything he's saying, everything he's doing, they'll use against him.
Yeah, well, the damage has already been done. The cat is out of the bag on reference to the stuff he was saying about Mica's family on TikTok. Now, those videos are gone, but they were out there. And now I don't know why they were gone. Maybe somebody finally came to the senses to take them off, but they're not there anymore.
Which ones?
The videos about him on True Crime True Crime Read, the TikTok channel. Yeah, those videos, you know, throwing a lot of accusations at Mica's family are gone. So I'm just wondering if maybe he was served, maybe JP, something we don't know, and you know, we weren't told anything, but maybe he was served some cease and desist that we don't know about.
Yeah, it could be. And we don't really know all the circumstances of why those were deleted, but they were deleted from that account, but of course everyone saved them already. So it's, you know, seems like a fool's errand to go through all that trouble when everyone has already seen the videos and a lot of people have them saved. I mean, we have all of them saved. So I don't know what the point of that was, but it could be that they're trying to shield themselves from some sort of legal liability, whoever it is behind the account.
Yeah. Well, we're definitely keeping tabs. Anything else you want to add, Magnolia? I want to play another clip from the behavioral panelist about his last. He speaks to Ashley about his interview. I want to show what the behavioral expert says about when he was speaking to Ash, or when he was speaking on News Nation. Ashley's on it. Ashley interviewed the family for the reaction. It's like a 30-minute interview. Maybe you and I will jump on and review it together.
Yeah, Ashley's doing a good job. She's not letting this case go.
No, and we're not letting it go, and a lot of people in this chat most likely are not letting it go. CJ's on it all the time. CJ's in the chat. Yep. He does live feeds out there regularly, and you know, continues to bring awareness to this case because people feel like it's coming as far as criminal charges, just not there yet. But we are like on indictment watch when it comes to this guy right here.
Yes, and the other thing I want to say, the protesters are also not letting this go. They were still out there again Sunday. The protesters that I speak to, they're just as angry today, if not more, than they were May 5th when all the protests started. They seem to me more determined than ever, because one of them told me it feels like JP Miller has been abusing everyone since Mica died. That's how they feel. They feel that he's abusing them. So the protesters don't seem to be going away. I don't know if he's going to be successful with his little fence or not. But they'll still protest even though there's a fence there, I'm sure. Yeah.
Appreciate you coming on, Magnolia. Always wonderful to hear your insight, and people love to hear from you.
All right, we'll talk to y'all soon.
Bye, Magnolia.
All right, bye-bye.
Magnolia Investigates. Make sure you guys sub to her channel. She does awesome work, and she's in the loop. So this is what I'm going to play. I'm going to play the reaction. This is from one of a body language expert about JP's last interview and stuff like that. And just get the tape, because this is an interesting tape.
Pastor John Paul Miller broke down in tears even before the questions began. And I have a little moment of that I want to play for you and ask you about it right after this. So take a look.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
You need a minute?
Oh, man. Oh, man.
What's tripping you up?
Just being able to tell him. Just being able to talk about everything.
Okay, Scott Rouse, what's your take?
All right. Well, this is sort of the pre-show because it was for the interview to set the mood, so the interviewer can see he's crying and he's upset, he's all those kind of things, right? Now, this may seem odd to when you see this, say, why would he do something like that? However, having watched a couple of these interviews on him, I'm under the impression he has a histrionic personality disorder, and what that would mean is you use your emotions to get attention. So that's what he's doing. It's the perfect example of that. It would seem odd outside of that, but if you talk to a psych person, they will tell you, oh yeah, that's histrionic personality disorder there, because he's setting the mood to say, look, I'm sad, I'm really crying a lot, so let's move on from here as I'm sad. So it's sort of a mood, it's the pre-show sad setup and something like that. It's really common.
I'm going to remember that, histrionic emotional disorder. I think I know some kids with that. Okay, the next thing I wanted to ask you about, there's that crazy video of Pastor Miller rolling around in the grass, squealing like a girl that goes on and on for, 10 minutes. And it's really odd. And of course, we wanted to ask him about it. He was claiming that he was covered in ants. He wasn't. And his answer, well, I'll play it and then I'll ask you about it. Take a look at this. Well, there's the video. And then it was odd. It was such an odd video. He was just stuck there at the open door of his car, and he never moved the whole time. The neighbor, let's listen into this, and then I'm going to ask you about it.
Okay.
I fell out of a tree, a giant magnolia tree. It was like 300 years old. I broke 12 bones. It was 10 to 12 bones. I don't know if you count fingers. Yeah, it does count fingers. Anyway, I have all this metal in my body, and I'd never taken pain meds in my life, and I just had my body cast taken off, and so I took a little bit too much pain meds that day.
Okay, that's a different one, unfortunately. Yeah, so unfortunately that's a different soundbite. He actually made some answers and went into a serious detail about a magnolia tree and how many fingers and toes, and it was it was very, very detailed when you just want the answer. And I kept wondering, get on with it. Again, Spidey sense saying, you're avoiding us, you're trying to take us on a trip somewhere.
Yeah, well, that's exactly what he's doing. This is manipulation. It's a form of manipulation. There are different styles and types when you start manipulating someone. Now, what he's doing here is he's setting up again, like he did earlier, saying, setting the mood. He's setting the mood for his answer, because his answer is not going to be a good answer. So what he says is, I broke a bunch of bones, and what did I break? I break 2 or 3, like he's relaxed and not worried about it. Not like there's something big coming, because the answer he's supposed to be given is an important answer. So at this point, when he's setting up that how it wasn't that big a deal, and he starts talking about this 300-year-old tree and how wonderful that was, that's all just to make things stay calm. So again, he's manipulating the mood there. So you'll see when you hear the answer, which is going to be a big deal, it doesn't seem like that big a deal. It's because he's relaxed. He's not worried about giving that answer at all. So it's subtle, but that's what's going on there. It's very subtle, but that's what's happening there.
Well, I'll tell you what, when I was watching the whole interview, I had you in mind almost like every 30 seconds. Wonder what Scott Rouse would say about this. Wonder what Scott Rouse would say about that. And now I have it. Thank you. I can't wait to have you back. Thank you, Scott. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com.
Great take. Manipulation. Oh, woe is me. Feel sorry for me. I'm crying. Everyone can see it's a showman. It's what he does a lot of his sermons. He's theatrics. He's the grand show that everyone comes to see at Solid Rock. Ridiculous. Fix News has an article. I just want to show you this too. Who is paying for the Solid Rock police barriers that are outside the church? Because there's barriers up, and as you just saw, he's trying to put some fencing up. But there were some barriers up. And this is like a 1 minute. I'm going to play the audio version. But it says, who is paying for the Solid Rock police barriers? And I want to play this clip right here, just so you can hear it right here real quick.
Letter, who is paying for Solid Rock police barriers? By letters. Dear editor, I live around the corner from Solid Rock Church in Myrtle Beach. On Saturday, the city placed barriers along the sidewalks on both sides of the street. Ostensibly, the barriers were placed to separate church members from demonstrators. I'm puzzled as a neighbor. Why is the city erecting these stanchions or barriers? How much does it cost to have them erected and taken down? What is the purpose of them? How many police department personnel will be engaged before and during the time frame of Sunday's peaceful demonstration? What is the cost of paying for those personnel, and why is the city, ergo, the taxpayers, picking up the tab for all this? Sincerely, Brian L. Long, Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. From the editor. These are excellent questions, Brian. We are posing them directly to the city and preparing Freedom of Information Act, FOIA, requests for a breakdown of the costs. Obviously, this has something to do with all the recent drama at the church, but you are correct in raising concerns as a taxpayer.
Okay, so apparently Fitz News is going to be filing some FOIA requests, trying to get an understanding about all those barriers that are placed up there by police at the taxpayer's expense. Because some neighbors around there are very concerned about that. You live in that community, and I can tell you that neighborhood, the Solid Rock Church is in a neighborhood. It's the Market Commons, it's a neighborhood. A little bit far ahead is a whole shops and like street shopping and everything like that. But where that church is literally a neighborhood. I personally know someone that lives within eyesight of there. I'm personally friends with someone that lives within eyesight of that church. So that's why I get a lot of information. Neighbors don't want to see barriers up in front of their neighborhood like that because of this guy. So who's paying for it? What's the cost? What's the cost of manpower to put them up? So we're going to try to get answers on that ourselves. It looks like Fitz News is doing their own FOIAs. So that is the latest with J.P. Miller. Will he give other interviews? Remains to be seen. I think so. And if anything else breaks on this case, we'll give you the updated latest on this case. We are on it. Thank you, everyone in the chat. Oh, by the way, we always end this segment. Mica's Law. Let's talk about Mica's Law. It's very important to get Mica's Law passed, ladies and gentlemen. Mica's Law will save lives. It will empower victims of domestic violence to get the remedy. And I believe that it will save many, many lives for future generations. So if you are in South Carolina, encourage your local politicians to pass Mica's Law. If you're not from South Carolina, call into South Carolina and try your best and encourage them to pass Mica's Law. It could make a difference for all victims of domestic violence. Mica's Law. And if you haven't done the research, just Google around Mica's Law and you will see. I am JLR Investigates. Thanks for watching. Justice for Mica. I see the purple hearts. Justice for Mica for sure, and we'll be monitoring this case for sure. Guys, have a good day. JLR Investigates. We cover true crime 24/7, 365 from the JLR Batcave. Web of Lies. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'll read your comments. I'll respond to a lot of you, and we will talk soon. Stay tuned. Have a good day, everyone. JLR Investigates.